Hey, what's happening? As always, I want to thank you very much for stopping by. Lying Beliefs, welcome. My name is Maurice, and I'm an author and New World philosopher. And Lying Beliefs is a channel that's been created to deeply analyze the man-made beliefs that lie deep within our subconscious mind. The purpose of this channel, of course, is to expose our beliefs for what they are. The human beings suffer from what we have chosen to believe in, but we don't realize that. And today I'm going to focus on something that creates our suffering and is all mind-filled. And the topic today is fear. And here's the question. Do you realize that fear is nothing more than an illusion? Do you realize that fear is nothing more than something that lives within your mind? And there's nothing to fear except fear itself. Now I'm sure you've heard those statements before. But have you ever heard of this? That fear is really nothing more than misuse of our imagination. That's all it is. We human beings are the only species on this planet that's been gifted with this power, with the ability to imagine our reality. And yet, we misuse this power by imagining fear in our lives. This is not the reality we human beings are supposed to be creating, but believe it or not, this is what we are creating. The idea of hell is what we are creating. And that's all hell is an idea. Hence, it leads me back to those three statements I made earlier. There's nothing to fear except fear itself, and that fear is nothing more than an illusion that lives within your mind. But you're probably asking yourself, have you ever asked yourself, when you've heard these statements before, what do they really mean? Especially if fear is supposedly an illusion, then why does it feel real? Well, it's very simple. And I'm going to link those three statements just to one single answer. And the answer to justify or to define exactly why fear is nothing to fear except fear itself and why fear is an illusion that lives in the mind is all based upon one simple thing, an idea. That is what we all fear. We all fear an idea. Fear is nothing more than an illusion. Fear is an idea that lives only in your mind. There's nothing to fear except the idea or the ideas of fear. That's it. So outside of the idea, there's really nothing to fear. We human beings live our entire lives fearing so many things. We human beings, we fear ourselves, which is an idea. We fear the idea of this universe, the religious idea of this universe, or the religious ideas of this universe, the numerous ideas that man has come up with to describe something that is, well, indescribable. And we fear man's idea of life. The life that man has created for us to live definitely is not in harmony with us. We struggle with the idea of life. It's frustrating and it's very stressful. It can be very depressing at times. So what we truly fear are nothing more than ideas. Because I'm sure it's safe to say that the ideas that we fear, especially as it relates to the idea of this universe, we have never come face to face with. We've never come face to face with this adversary that we call a devil. And if you are someone who believes in that idea, the devil lives only in the intricate details of that belief. This idea is not real, but it feels real because we believe that it is true. And that is what we human beings do not understand. Anything that we believe to be true will become our reality, meaning that we will experience it in such a way that it feels real. Although we have never encountered it personally, it feels though as we have. It's amazing how we misuse our imagination. So, as it relates to the number one fear we human beings have, we fear death. We truly fear the idea of dying. And the only thing that gives us comfort is this fairy tale idea of eternal life. But what we human beings fail to realize is that we were born as eternal life. That is what we all are. Eternal life. Even as a loved one passes, as that shell lays hollow, empty, you can look at that shell, and although it resembles who you thought was your loved one, you can tell that something's missing. That loved one doesn't look the same. Why? Because the loved one, that individual, that energy that exuded your loved one, that soul, no longer resides within that body. Meaning the life obviously have left that shell. And it has moved on. As the saying goes, life lives on. But we have been so conditioned to believe that the shell defines who we are, that we worship it even to death. As we go to bury our loved ones, and as we visit the grave that we have buried our loved ones in, our loved ones have long gone, has moved on. But we still go to these grave sites worshiping as if we're speaking to our loved one in the ground. This is the psyche of humanity. Not understanding that we are all eternal life. That there is no fairy tale that defines eternal life. We don't understand as human beings that we are nothing more than beings of light, beings of life having a human experience. So in essence, you don't die. The energy of you does not die. It just lives on. But what does die is your human experience here. We need to realize who we are beyond the idea of who we are. And understand that fear is not real. That fear is nothing more than false evidence appearing real. Until next time, rise and shine. I'll talk to you soon. One love.